Well, we have plenty of fever for the last days here in 2012, don't we? With, was it 3 weeks? The world ends, right? Been reading about that. This weekend, according to the papers, National Geographic Channel and others, I think, are having hours and hours of presentation about these prophecies for the end of the world, coming right as they do at the solstice and at the Christmas time. One wag in the papers today called it mankind roasting on an open fire. Well, it's true. Things are unpredictable and things can pass away. Probably not in 3 weeks, but maybe tomorrow. The roaring of the waves and the tumult of the people. We had that in a little tiny, relatively tiny, but still disastrous example in Hurricane Sandy. Things were just washed away. And that last weekend in the New York Times, a whole section, opening article and Sunday Review had the Statue of Liberty underwater, calculating that if the seas rise 25 feet, whether in 100 years or 50 years or 200 years, everything below 34th Street will be underwater. And it goes on very philosophically, theologically, I would say, to point out, we'll all, somehow or other, sooner or later, it'll be a ruin. We'll be an archaeological dig. They'll write books about we had 60-story towers and tubes and trains under the rivers. It'll just be a memory. It will happen. Somehow or other. Naturally or supernaturally or politically. So it's true, we need to be aware, not so much of when is this going to happen or how exactly is it going to happen, but things are passing away. Everything created, everything in this world, as all the religious traditions remind us, including obviously Christianity today, you can't hold on to any of it. It's all passing, it's all fleeting, it's all insubstantial. It's all destructible. You can't hold on to any of it. Put your security or your identity or your hope in anything in this world. How many people are in our own city and our own country are striving for money, power, fame? Oh, fame, wouldn't that be great? If we win the lottery, or we become a movie star, think how happy and fulfilled we'll be. Well, come on, how smart do you have to be to know that's nonsense? As its lure, but all you have to do is read the tabloids and see how happy those people are, spending most of their time in rehab. This is not the source of happiness or identity. And whenever the end of the world comes, that's the important point. That it's always the end of our world. When the Lord comes, who knows, it'll be a comet, who knows, the powers of the heavens will be shaken, an asteroid will come and destroy the world in, tomorrow or 65 million years. But when is Christ coming in the cloud of glory? If at that time he appears on a cloud physically in glory, it'll be a mass hallucination. It's not possible for Christ to appear on a cloud in glory physically everywhere in the world at the same time. It has to be an inner event. That the powers of our heavens, our inner world is shaken. Whether now or at the end of the world, Christ must come on the clouds of our own spirit and our own hearts, appear in glory in our own minds and our own souls. This is the coming that's important. This is what makes us realize what's really substantial, what's lasting, what's important, what's powerful, what has true meaning, where true riches, where true power, where true identity and security can be found. It's not enough to believe it, we have to experience it. Christ has to come in glory in our hearts. Hopefully this season, hopefully today, hopefully soon. That's why the church makes us cry out every Advent. Come, stir up your power and come, so we can experience who we really are, what really matters, who you really are, O Lord. And find our security and our identity, the source and the end, the fulfillment of all our hopes, our deepest human hopes, for security and identity and meaning. Let us experience that now. You know, the word that appears in the scriptures for the second coming is just the word parousia, as you may have heard. And all that means in Greek is somebody who is alongside of you, the being with you. And Jesus promised, I will be with you all the days until the end of the world, and then at the end of the world, obviously, too. Jesus is with us now, and he should be appearing in glory in our own hearts and minds. You know, I'm convinced as I grow in life experience that what makes people really strive for and yearn for and scheme for, you know, the money and the power and the fame above all, if they don't feel like they're worth anything. My life has no meaning. I'm nobody until somebody knows about me. I'm nobody unless I'm famous. I'm nobody unless I'm rich or powerful. And we can feel in this insecure, vast world that we are just nothing. So how do we make a mark? How do we find some meaning, some identity? I understand that. But we should also understand, as I've been saying, we can't find it there. So where can we find it? Where do we find it? In this inner experience of being validated, created, loved, affirmed, embraced unconditionally, without any merit created, without any merit redeemed, by God, by Christ. And once we have even the beginnings of that experience, then all that other stuff, sure, it's fine if it comes, but it's maybe even better if it doesn't. So we're not led astray by illusions. We don't have to promote ourselves anymore because God himself has promoted us to his beloved children. And we don't just believe that or say that. We know it because God has appeared in glory. He has been with us, come beside us, come within us to say, you are my beloved child. From eternity and for eternity, despite whatever and everything that passes away, the world and all its pomp. And then we're secure beyond anything we could ever imagine, and validated beyond anything the world could ever give us. That's what we should be opening ourselves to, because that's what's offered to us. As, to use the image from the first reading, the righteous branch, this shoot, the sprout from the stump of Jesse, that righteous branch, the word in Hebrew actually means a sprout, a shoot that's coming up. That should be blossoming up in our hearts. The Lord should be born in us, to use the Christmas imagery. The Lord should be sprouting in us to bear the rich fruit of joy and peace, taking root in our hearts as he sows the seed of his word, the seed of his own presence in our hearts. That's what should blossom within us and spread abroad its scent and its fruits within us. And those fruits are, above all, the first fruit of the Spirit, which is love. Isn't it beautiful what St. Paul says in the second reading? He says he wishes for all of you that you may abound, expand, very powerful words, and you may multiply and abound in love towards God towards one another, towards all, he says, towards all people. And when the Lord is born in your hearts, then you become not a devourer of love, one who saps it from everywhere to validate yourself, but rather a giver of love with the divine bounty itself which now resides within you. You become a force, an energetic force for love and joy and peace in the world. You receive it from the Lord and it just pours out through you. May you abound in this experience of love. That's what he wishes for the first community that awaited the Lord's return. That's what he wishes for us as we await the Lord's return, above all in our own lives and in our own hearts. So don't be led astray. Don't think of it as, oh, this is a sin, I can't do that, I can't go after money. But why would you? It's not what you can do or what you can't do. What gives you life? What has real meaning that can't pass away? That's the only lure, the only enticement we need, not whether it's allowed or not in some book. What is life-giving? What has proven itself? What will prove itself to you? So give the Lord a chance to appear in glory within you. Deepen your life of prayer. Take a few moments. Be in his presence as he is with you. He's really present in the Eucharist. He's also, in a similar way, really present in your heart. Are you really present to him? Are you really present to anything? Distracted as we are by so many things. So be present to the Lord as he is present to you. He is with you. The parousia has taken place in that fundamental sense. Now, not when some asteroid comes. Let's have our focus where it should be. The Lord being with us now in our hearts, and our being with him, to find out who he really is and who we most truly are.